So from the outside, my life looked pretty. We didn't go to public school, we were sent to private school. We went to a Christian private school at that, where I was daily taught beliefs about God and about Jesus and about how good He was, but I didn't always understand on a deep level what that really meant. Like, how is God good? What is so good about God? You wouldn't have guessed the brokenness that was walking around with me everywhere that I went. In school, I didn't talk. I tried to avoid talking at all costs. I didn't raise my hand to answer questions. I didn't sit with people at lunch. I didn't invite people to come over to the house. I just didn't try. I thought, I'm not supposed to be here, so I should be as invisible as possible. And I was a compliant student. I didn't cause a ruckus. I didn't really study or try hard on homework, but I was an A and B student. My motto was get me in and get me out. I just want to get this over and done with for the day and go home and be in my bedroom. I believed it was okay to act out on fear, that fear was a good motivator, that it was okay to make decisions based on my fears. I didn't know how guarded I was with other people, how much I pushed away instead of letting them come in. I didn't believe that I had value, so I didn't believe other people would value me. It took years to realize where the pain and where the hurt was coming from. The pain and the hurt was coming from lies that I believed. And it doesn't always matter how the lies got there, it just matters that they're there. And what matters more is you recognizing that they're there. So I was raised in a church, which is what made some of it kind of difficult. I knew that God loved me. I knew that He wanted to save me. I had probably said the sinner's prayer hundreds of times. I know for sure dozens. We would say it, and it was just this thing that we did at church, this thing that we did on Sundays, this thing that we did at school and chapel. It was really after junior high, when we had left the church that I grew up in, that I had an encounter with God. I would really say it was in 9th grade that I started to read my Bible and pray on my own. From that time, it was a bunch of ups and downs. I wasn't very consistent in my walk of faith. I wasn't consistent with reading the Bible or praying. I was very consistent at attending youth group. That youth leader's name was Chuck, and his enthusiasm and his obvious love of the Lord was contagious. And it was from there that the lies were being unfolded, that I started to realize more consciously, when I'm afraid, that doesn't mean I need to act on it. When I feel like people don't want to hear what I have to say, that's probably Satan trying to isolate me. When I feel discouraged, I can go to God for encouragement. When I went off to college, I had to choose, am I going to live for Christ for real? Or am I going to experiment with what the world has to offer? Am I going to go off the deep end in a sense? Go back to fully sitting in those lies? Or was I going to stop going through the church motions and read my Bible on my own and pray for myself? I know that I made the right choice when I finally decided to get my act together and stop going through the church motions and live for Christ on my own, explore what the Bible had to say about who God was, that it started to make sense. And it was from there I really realized that Jesus saves us from more than hell. He saved me from a poor self-image. He saved me from isolation. He saved me from making mistakes. He protected me from making those mistakes. He protected me from picking up bad habits like smoking or drinking. So part of Jesus being your Savior is that when He comes in, He not only starts to heal what's been broken, but He starts to show you your purpose. That was my big thing. I wasn't worth anything and I didn't have a purpose. And so when Jesus came in and He started to heal my brokenness and He started to work on, you have value, you have a purpose, you have a future. With Christ, I can't help but get excited about the future. I know that I'm destined for greatness. I know that God's called me to invest in other people's lives and to teach them that they have value, that they have purpose, that they are someone worth spending time with. And I'm not always certain of what that looks like, but I know that it starts here. It starts with being around people who need encouraged. Jesus is Savior.